What's up, y'all? My name is Enoch. I'm here to inspire, motivate, and encourage you to be the best version of you that you could possibly be. I know that ain't an easy task, but let's go. Welcome back to Divine Motivation Podcast. I appreciate you tuning in for episode number 4. Like if you want, subscribe if you want, follow the Instagram, Divine Motivation _. Now let's get into it. Okay, so now we going off of last week where we talked about patience. We're going to keep this thing rolling. Matter of fact, in the last episode, I said you're going to have to deal with something where your patience is going to be tested. If you had to deal with something, write in the comment. Actually, I had to deal with something. I went to the DMV, right? Quick story. I went to the DMV. We all know that's a wait, right? So went there, wait, of course. Then I went online and then did all my paperwork. Then the lady set me up for a test because when you got a CDL, I got a CDL license. So when you got a CDL license, they make you take a test. This hazmat thing, whatever. So I go take the test. Then I come back online. The lady says to me, I'm about to go on break. I said, you joking, right? She was like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, yo, you can't be serious. So she literally gets up, walks away. She says, I'm going to send somebody else to help you. So I'm standing there for extra 10 minutes. I'm like, this is crazy. She got at least help me. She the one that put me on the test. So somebody else comes. Now I'm doing all my paperwork with them, right? They go, I'm sorry, but the lady before made you take the wrong test. I'm like, no way. No way. So she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but you got to take another test. So now I had to go take another test, then come back. Then they finished everything. I was like, all right, you done. She's like, oh, I forgot to put one more endorsement on your paperwork. I'm just like, yo, is this happening? I passed the test though. I wasn't frustrated. They was actually like, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for your patience. And I was like, okay, my patience is high. But anyway, if you did have some issues with your patience, yeah, you got tested, write in the comment. But today we're gonna keep going from that. We started talking about stress, right? Then we talked about one of the reasons for stress, which was not knowing your purpose. Then after that, that's what we talk about patience, and having patience can lead you to your purpose. So today, I wanted to dive into being purpose driven, because it's like, okay, I'm being patient now, starting to see what my purpose is. Now, how do I essentially keep those blinders on? And I figured we could talk about being purpose driven. And a way to stay purpose driven, you got to see it like, let's say you have a destination. Let's say you're on the highway, you got to drive. I'm from New York. I live in North Carolina now. So it's an 8-hour drive to New York. For me to get to New York, I have to follow the signs. I have to look at the signs, look at the GPS and say, okay, this sign say this way. That's where I'm going to go. So when you're purpose driven, you follow things that give signs toward what you feel you should be doing. When you're not purpose driven, it's easy to just, you're driving, you see, oh, look at that place. Let's pull over into this attraction over here. That looks like fun. Let's go do this. And now you're deviating from where it's supposed to be going. When you're purpose driven, you're always on that mindset of, I'm here for a reason. I have a destination. Now let's get there. I'm not just stopping for no reason. I'm not just stopping for gas when I don't need gas yet. You have an indicator like, okay, you got this much miles to go. Okay, you know what? I need to stop now. I need to take a break here. I need to do this because when I'm purpose driven, there's a destination at the end of it. That's why it's very important to have that patience, like we talked about in the last episode, so that you're not moving so fast that you're just all over the place and you don't even know what you're doing. Like, for example, with me, when I talked about where I almost lost my patience when it came to getting a new job. Now, I knew this job was within my purpose, but I was letting being impatient almost ruin that. I was about to email them like, I see guys aren't calling me back. And thank you for the opportunity. But when you're purpose driven, you kind of gotta fight those moments where it's like, I know this is what I want to do, but it ain't working out. So I'm gonna take it into my own hands. Like I said, with your patience, there's a flow that comes with it when you're purpose driven. And literally last week, I saw that being purpose driven, you really have little things that come across where you get the opportunity to be like, okay, I can say yes or I can say no. I'll give you an example. So, like I said earlier, I do got a CDL, right? But I don't drive trucks anymore. I got into social work. So now I just started working there about a couple months now. And an opportunity came where my supervisor had called me in the middle of the night, right? Mind you, I'm pretty new. So what she's calling me to do is not something typically they would ask of somebody that's kind of new. So she says, well, I don't want to tell all the details, but basically there was a youth that was having some troubles and couldn't find placement yet. And they needed somebody to stay with him in a disclosed location for the night. So I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know about that. But I was like, I'll call you back. She said, give me a call back in like 5 minutes. It's kind of something we need to get done right now. And when I got off the phone, I said, see, here's the thing. When you know your purpose, you know those signs of things that's getting thrown at you and something you got to jump on opportunity. And when I got off the phone with her, I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, she looked at me. She said, you already know the answer. And I'm like, yeah, I know my purpose is youth. I know it's motivating people. I know it's speaking life into people. I was like, if there's one thing I could say to this kid that might motivate him to be better, to not end up in the situation he is right now, I got to do it. So because I was purpose driven, I didn't look at what time it was in the middle of the night, what I had to do, that I had to get up and get dressed and leave. Because I was purpose driven and not just like, man, if I didn't know what I wanted to do, I'd have been like, nah, I'm good. I ain't doing that. Bump that. But because I'm purpose driven, I'm like, nah, I got to do it. And because I did that, when I got in the room with the kid, I saw that he needed somebody like me. We spoke and we had a real strong conversation about his life and changing some things in his life. And he was like, man, I don't really got nobody like that talked to me like that. I don't really have that type of motivation. So I started telling him things he should listen to, what you should be feeding your ears, feeding your soul. There's a lot of things. I saw what he was listening to, and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like, that's not gonna help you. If you say you want to go to the next level, you say you want to be a better person, but feeding yourself that type of stuff is not gonna help you. And he was like, yeah, I don't really have nobody in my circle that really talked to me like that. And I actually told him, like, man, I came here because of you. I didn't have to come. And me being purpose driven, I could have said something. That's all I wanted, was to say something that might just flip a switch in his life, something that can make a difference. The same reason like this podcast, I do this because I want maybe something I say that you could apply to your life that you might actually use in the future. And me doing that, I felt good about it. I felt like I might have made a difference in this kid's life. And I think it's important that when you are patient, then you finally realize what your purpose is. Pay attention to those signs. Like I said, on the highway, that's how you get lost. You miss a sign because you're not paying attention. You miss the exit because you're rushing. You're trying to do your own thing. You think you got it. But sometimes you need some guidance, that GPS. Like I said, the source. God is my source. You got to listen to that little voice that say, hey, that's something you might want to do. That's something you might want to look into. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is with this social work job, Obviously, y'all just heard me. I was driving trucks. On paper, I may not be qualified, but when God qualifies you, it doesn't really matter. Like I knew I was qualified for the job. They wasn't sure. That's why they took so long to reply to me. But they gave me the opportunity. And then after the fact, they was like, man, we just thank you, man. You're a great asset to the team. And I'm like, man, sometimes when you just purpose driven and you following your calling, things just start to fall in place. Things start becoming more clearer. So it's very important when you realize what you want to do, stay purpose driven. Keep that on your mindset. Always every day working towards what you want to do. Always look at the opportunity. Don't say, hey, that opportunity will come again. I'll just wait on that because you might not get that again. And that one little thing may propel you closer to where you're supposed to go. So it's really important that when you have a purpose and you know what you're here for, and now you've done the little steps, your stress is under control. You got your patience, you know what you're here for, and now it's no, okay, I know my purpose. Now let me stay focused towards that. Let me be purpose driven. Let me use that highway analogy. I got to get to a destination. I'm going to follow these signs. These signs are going to lead me to where I need to go. Let me pay attention to these signs. Let me not get off track. Look at attraction, something that looks appealing, something that looks like, oh, I might want to do that, but it's just a distraction. When you're purpose driven, it doesn't matter how much likes you get. When you're purpose driven, it doesn't matter how much views you get. When you're purpose driven, you're doing it because of the purpose, because it's your calling. All the other things will come. The views will come, the likes will come, but that can't be your main focus. When you're trying to be famous, you're just empty. How many people that just wanted fame and they're lost? You got to find that purpose. That's what wakes you up every day. That's what keeps you going. So if you take anything from this, whenever you have your purpose, stay focused on it. Be purpose driven. And I guarantee you, little by little, you'll begin to grow and get better and better. And ultimately be doing what you're meant to be doing. And that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow Divine Motivation _ on my Instagram. I do motivation every single day because it's just my purpose and I'm purpose driven. And I'm going to do it every single day, whether I get a view or not. And I love it. And I feel full regardless. So stay purpose driven, y'all. I'll see you next week.